going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It is chaos to come back. Another day, another way. Whew, another day I gotta pay. Got that rent knocked out. Whew, big one. Landlord came over today, picked up, at least I can write a check. Now I just gotta make sure that thing don't bounce. I gotta make sure, as long as that thing don't bounce, we're good. Money's in the bank, but who knows? I got probably 2 days of nail biting ahead of me before that shows up as having been taken out of my bank account. Plus, I gotta get groceries today. I just don't have anything. Would I starve if I didn't go grocery shopping today? No. Will I be able to find anything to eat that's not just complete crap? No. And my fridge is more or less empty. I mean, I do have some ground beef in the freezer. But before I even get into any of that, I'm exhausted. It's Tuesday. It's July 1st. FYI. Let's see if I can get the brightness to just stay put for a bit. I've got an idea for a ghetto backdrop. I don't know if something to just not have this kitchen backdrop here without spending any money. Maybe next video. I'm too tired today. I talked about in the previous video of changing up my bicycle route a little bit. So now I'm going 24 miles each way, 48 miles every day I go to the bakery. But it worked out. The first time, I told you about it, the first time I rode home from the bakery, I purposely took every non-road bicycle path and option on my plate just to see what the mileage would add up to, roughly, not down to the 10th of a mile, but down to a half a mile variance, rounded off. And it turned out to be out of 24 miles, 17 miles of it were on bike paths and trails. So only 7 miles of that ride are on roads, and 3 out of the 7 are on a road that sucks. The other remaining 4 miles that are on roads are on residential streets where the traffic is slow and nobody's going to be aggressive towards you. So there's just this one 3-mile stretch on this busy road with no shoulders. Usually that is where the hostilities occur, regardless of if I take that general route to and from. That's usually where I'm going to have problems with people, is on this 3-mile stretch of that. And there's no way around it. There's no alternative path to avoid it. So if they could add 3 miles of cycling trails, like just a path along the side of the road for that 3 miles, they could they could make this whole area bicycle friendly. There are so many. I feel like when they build a bridge, there's federal laws in place when it comes to getting federal funding now, that if the federal government's going to pay for a bridge or a infrastructure like that, you have to account for pedestrians and cyclists along with drivers. It really wouldn't be that hard when you're building this big giant fucking bridge over something like Route 45, the major highway and it's one of the access points to get across Spring Creek. You've got 4 to 6 lanes going each direction, both north and south, on the interstate itself. And then on either side of the interstate, you've got 4 to 6 lanes going north or south for the access road. The way these highways work around Houston, you got the interstate, and then you've got another road next to both sides of the interstate. In order to get on the interstate or off, you have to get on this access road. But the access road you can ride a bicycle on it. I mean, it's not fun, but you can do it. It's not illegal. It's illegal to be on an interstate, but not on the access road. And so if you've got enough fucking money, I'm just saying, if you got enough money to build 6, 12, 18, 24 fucking lanes for cars to go over a fucking river, you're telling me you can't afford one skinny little fucking strip for bicyclists to go over the same fucking river? Are you and people to walk? I mean, get the fuck out of here. We got enough money to build a bridge that's 24 lanes wide going across a fucking river. But we can't afford this one little bit so that some people on bicycles can also get across the river. It makes no fucking sense at all. But when I talk about how much I hate Democrats all the time, well, here's one. I hate you fucking Republicans because you're the ones that are going to scream and yell and throw a fucking fit. Fuck those fucking people on their feet and walkers. Fuck them, and fuck those people on their bikes. Number one, you're going to be like, fuck those people who walk and fuck those people on their bikes. We don't want to add a skinny lane to the bridge that's already 24 lanes wide to go across this river because fuck them. I ain't wasting my taxpayer money so that those you-know-whats in their spandex can get across this fucking bridge. Fuck them motherfuckers. Let them get a fucking car. But then you're also the first people that bitch when there's a fucking bicyclist on the road and they're blocking your way in your giant hillbilly pickup truck when you're on your way home to beat the shit out of your wife and drink a Coors Light. So you can't have it both ways, you fucking retards. And this is why I hate Republicans too. I hate them all. But that's not what this video is for. In fact, that's all I'm going to get into with this video on that. The bike ride. If I choose to, it's 17 miles now from my house to work without having to be on a road and deal with you dumbass hillbilly assholes. And only 3 of the miles, you're going to catch, if you catch me in those 3 miles, middle fingers are going to go up. It's like I'm getting a workout. It's like I'm doing reps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. How many sets can I get within those 3 miles? Quite a few, turns out. But you know, that's the all woods and trail route. That's the one that's available to me. And the bicycle paths through the woodlands themselves are kind of shitty because I honestly feel like I run more of a risk of getting hurt on the bike trail than I do on the road, because now I have to dodge all the suburban entitled douchebags that are on their e-bikes going 45 miles an hour down these bike paths. And these bike paths are super windy and they have all these blind corners, and they where the path could be relatively straight, they make it zig and zag and do all this. And it's all so that a bunch of rich assholes can pretend they're going on a nature hike through the fucking woods. But your woods is about as much of a real forest as Space Mountain in Florida is an actual mountain. So it's all fake and it's all just dumb. But so yesterday I left 15 minutes early to go into work thinking I'm going to take the bike path route. But the stretches where the bicycle paths are parallel to the road, and the bicycle path is going to give me an average speed of about 10 to 15 miles an hour, but the road will give me between 15 and 20 miles an hour as an average speed, I'll take the road. So I skipped the bike trails for the woodlands and stayed on the roads. At least the roads through the woodlands generally have shoulders. They're a little bit safer than some of the other roads in some of the other areas. As soon as you cross this imaginary line where there's a big sign that says the woodlands, you know, all big fancy rich asshole sign, you know, like you see at the beginning of every, you know, Woodthorne Estates or Carriage Hills or whatever the fuck. All these rich assholes have to have a name for their neighborhood on some dumb sign. There's one neighborhood around here that has one of those fancy fake douchebag suburban names, and it's got a fake waterfall with a water wheel that spins when you walk. It's fucking bullshit. It's fake. It's literally like going to a fucking amusement park. And it's just dumb. Your HOA fees are paying for this stupid fucking fake waterfall with a fucking whatever those wheels are that back in the day used to power a factory, but now it's just some decoration for your goofy ass HOA subdivision. And it's just, fuck that shit. If you have the money to live in a place like that, you have the money to buy a big piece of land somewhere with no fucking neighbors, and you don't got some bitch Karen showing up banging on your fucking door threatening to fine you because you have the wrong color garbage can on the curb on Thursday or whatever. If you're one of those people that want to fly an American flag, I fucking hate this country. I'd never give a fuck about flying no flag. But if you're one of those people that like to fly those things, a lot of these HOAs will take your house away from you for flying a flag. America. So you can take that money that you spent to live in that shitty neighborhood and buy land and build your own house, and you can fly a big giant fucking flag that's 20 feet tall if you want, on a flagpole that's 600 feet high and takes up, that planes have to watch out for when they're flying by if that's what you want to do. But no, you gonna go live in one of these fake neighborhoods with the fake waterfall at the entranceway. Yeah, whatever. Do what you got to do. But I don't like this. I don't like the bike paths in the woodlands. There's out of the 2 bicycle path systems that I can encounter on this ride to and from, one of them is a fancy sidewalk for rich assholes to pretend that they're going out in the woods, and it's really not a good cycling path because it's just too, I feel like it's more dangerous than being on the road. That's my opinion. The other cycling trail system is an actual trail system. It's actually designed to move you along and to get you from point A to B on a bicycle in a reasonable amount of time at a reasonable speed. No blind turns. The path is wide enough. A lot of it has a yellow divider line down the middle so that, to entice idiots to stay on their side of the path. But even if they don't, you can see them from a quarter mile away, and I can just sit there on my bell, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching on the bell, on my handlebars, or I can yell or do whatever I gotta do. People get out of the way. On the actual bicycle trail, the Spring Creek Greenway, I don't really have encounters that are, there aren't that many, I don't know if I've even seen a douchebag, an actual douchebag on that trail. I've seen one group of douchebags, and I think they probably came from the woodlands because they set up their camp chairs in a circle and were just decided to take up the entire fucking width of the trail, sitting in a circle in their camp chairs, just chilling. Like, nobody needs to get through here. It's not a fucking road for bicyclists and hikers and joggers and people on rollerblades or whatever the fuck else, scooters, whatever. This is not a pathway. This is just your private space to set up a bunch of fucking camp chairs in a circle and, sing campfire songs while you block everybody else who needs to get home, or, and then throw a fucking attitude when people are upset about it. Especially when you had a whole giant lawn freshly mowed right next to the fucking trail. You could have set up your chairs in a circle and been, out of the way. But that's why I think they came from the woodlands that day when I saw those people. But whatever, it's just another thing to get mad about. Yesterday, the point is, I rode to and from the bakery 24 miles each way, but I took the bicycle trails where they make sense so that I can avoid certain roads and still make good speed and good time. But in the other spots where I could stay on a bicycle trail, but I just want to get there, I stayed on the roads. And it was a nice mix. It was a nice route. And on the way in, I was kind of slow. I didn't really care about my speed. And I left 15 minutes early, and I got there at the right time. I had plenty of time to get breakfast, get changed, eat my food, clock in. On the way home, however, I wasn't even really planning on this. I didn't really feel that great when I left. But when I got on the bicycle, I had this nice burst of energy, and the cloud cover had kind of rolled in a little bit, and it looked like it might rain, but it didn't. But it cooled off a little bit, the temperature. And so I started moving at a good clip. I was averaging almost 20 miles an hour for most of this ride. And I was flying. And in the first 11 miles, I stayed on the roads. Actually, it's like the first 13 miles. It's actually kind of half and half because, for the first, I think it's 11 miles. Yeah, it's 11 miles so for the first 11 miles, I'm on roads. And then I'm on like a cul-de-sac for another, I think it's 2 more miles. So it's like 13 miles out of the ride to start with. I'm on streets or roads. And then I get on to that Spring Creek Greenway. And so it's another 11 miles once I get on that Spring Creek thing. Minus the mile to my house, minus another mile or 2. So there's like, I don't know, I'd say like 8 to 10 miles. It feels, I'd have to really like look at the numbers, but I know that it's 11 miles to where the cul-de-sac, that 3-mile stretch of road that's shitty no matter what. When I make that left turn to go through the cul-de-sac to head towards the bike trail, it's exactly 11 miles. I've known that for a long time. So out of 24 miles, there's, I can't even do basic math, 13 miles left. And out of that 13, there's a mile to get to my house from the bike trail. And then there's probably, I'm going to say 2 miles from where you get to the cul-de-sac to where you actually get on the bike trail. Maybe it's 1.5 miles. And then another at least 1 mile. So that's like 9, you get like 9 miles of bicycle trails and quiet. As soon as I make that left to go through the cul-de-sac, headed toward the Spring Creek Greenway, it's pretty chill from that moment. And now it's from that moment until I get home. And that was the nice part of yesterday's ride. I get on, I make that left to go through the cul-de-sac to get to the bike trail. And from that moment all the way to my house, I was just chilling, feeling fine. There's one road. It's a 4-lane, it's 2 to 3 lanes in each direction, but it's a very slow, like 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, and it's basically just a fancy road that goes past the Exxon headquarters, which is this huge complex of buildings. It's like a road. It's a road for the employees to get in and out of where they work, and maybe a couple of other things like some shopping and some bullshit like that. But I rode that road, but the road is so wide and the traffic is so non-existent. It's a way bigger road than it needs to be for the amount of traffic that drive, which is fine with me, because there's plenty of room for the drivers to get around me, and I've never been honked at or messed with riding down that road because there's plenty of room for everybody. And there's a bicycle trail next to the road, but I don't even want to take it because it just kind of winds around and does, it just slows you down to do that. But there are days where I'm just gonna feel like doing it for variety's sake and for my sanity. I just don't feel like getting into road rage fights with drivers, whatever. Stay off the roads as much as possible. But it was a game changer. I came home yesterday feeling really nice. Usually the last 4 miles of my ride are combat cycling with aggressive drivers on busy roads, with a couple of overpasses that go up and over major highways. So they're kind of a pain to climb up and over. It takes, a little bit, you might get a little winded, or just, I'm already so close to home, I just want to be done with it, and I got to climb up and over these big arch bridges that go up and over the major highways. I got to do that twice. Well, this way takes that out of the equation. It goes under the highways on relatively flat land. And so I can just get moving at a nice pace and just forget about everything. And it's nice. There's lots of places to stop and take a break, sit and chill on a bench, watch nature, shoot a video, whatever. Game changer. Game changer. It actually made the bike ride home less toxic to me. But the problem is that today I'm exhausted. I'm beyond spent. Yesterday I had good time. I didn't feel like my body wasn't hurting, and I was able to move along at a fast pace. And even Strava, the app I use, was telling me that was a good ride. You were hauling ass the whole way. I didn't stop for Gatorade. I had water. I wasn't feeling like I was gonna have the electrolyte crash because it wasn't hot enough. So I was like, whatever, keep going. I was feeling too good to stop riding, even to just grab Gatorade or whatever. I just wanted to get home. I got home at like 6:15, when my normal get home time's like 6:30, 7 o'clock lately. And so I was moving good. And so this is how I'm gonna do it from now on. The ride in the morning was peaceful. I go ride to the cycling trail, which is a mile away from the house here. And I'm not dealing with any traffic. The traffic on the streets where I live here is pretty tame, pretty light, pretty non-existent. And as soon as you get on I got on that bicycle trail yesterday. I didn't see a single other person for 9 to 10 miles on that trail. Didn't see a single other human being riding down there. That's a nice way to start the day, to just get on a peaceful bike trail going through the woods and have it all to yourself and just chill and just relax and enjoy life for a minute. So I'm definitely going to do that from now on. I'm not going to take the roads unless I have a reason, like speed and time, or I have to make a stop somewhere between here and either here and there or there and here. If I have to take back an Amazon return to Whole Foods, there's only one Whole Foods in the whole region. So, and it's halfway to my house on the 18-mile route. So I'll only have to ride 18 miles to get home. And even with the stop at Whole Foods to make a return for Amazon or whatever, I still might get home quicker than usual. But I'm going to be riding on roads that aren't fun to ride on, and dealing with people and drivers and middle fingers and all that stuff. So whatever. It was fun. But here's something I found out that's not even related to cycling or anything else. We've talked about this on the channel before, and that they're listening to you through your microphone, and then the ads that you see are whatever you talked about. There was a time I was driving around with a friend of mine. We saw a falcon. My phone was in my freaking pocket. We saw a falcon fly. First we saw it on a tree branch, and I was like, that's a falcon. And then we saw it, we saw it a little bit later driving back the opposite way, and he was still there. Well, he got up and he flew. And we're like, oh, look at that. That's a falcon. I told you it was a falcon. We were talking about this falcon. Do you know, every time I went on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and any of these other platforms, all of the posts and things that I saw were about falcons. You might be interested in things about falcons all of a sudden. What the fuck? Well, I'm here to tell you that they're not just listening to you through the microphone. So a couple of days ago, I was at the bakery, right? And we were talking about concerts, and somebody asked me, what are the best concerts you've ever been to? And I don't really have an answer for that, because when I was younger, When I was younger, concerts, we went to so many I've been to so many concerts, I couldn't even begin to tell you all the different musicians and bands, and I'm talking everything from metal to raves to going to see the symphony and the ballet and the opera. I've seen it all. I mean, I'm not kidding when I tell you I've seen it all, to the point where I haven't been to a concert. Last time I was at a concert was Del Fest, a bluegrass festival in Maryland, Cumberland, Maryland. And I'm telling you, that was like 2014 probably. I don't know what's going on with this fucking phone. I gotta get a different video app and just add it to my fucking list of everything I gotta do that I don't have time for. But I can't lock the exposure. I cannot lock the exposure no matter what I do. I can't get it to say, okay, leave it right there and don't fucking move it. Most camera apps have that function. You can hit a lock button and it'll just say, okay, I won't touch it. Not this app. It'll lock for a little while and then all of a sudden it'll decide, oh, I'm gonna change it now. And I'm gonna throw it all out of whack. I'm not even gonna do a good job. Because the light in the room changed. But, so we were talking about concerts, and I said something to the effect, I'm like, yeah, back when I used to go to concerts all the time, you could afford to go to a concert. It'd be like $50, $25, $30. $50 if it was something like phenomenal and you had really good seats. Now it's like, you want to go see Taylor Swift, not that I'm going to go see Taylor Swift, but you want to go to a Taylor Swift concert, that's like what, $4,000? You want to go see Dave Matthews Band? I think it's like $200-300 for a fucking ticket. And I'm like, I bought a fucking bicycle. I bought a $1,200 bicycle for $300 cash, almost brand new. So when I look at, like, I could go see Dave Matthews Band in concert for $300, or I could buy a bicycle for $300. It's like, I can't go see Dave Matthews. I'm like, I could buy a fucking bed for my new house here for $300. Or I could go to a concert for $300. I'm gonna choose something with, if I've got to spend $300 to go to a fucking concert to see a band play for 3 hours, or I can buy something for my apartment or my house here that is going to like make my life more comfortable for years, and I'll get years out of it, I think I've made my choice. I can't. So we were talking about this, about how concerts are so expensive. So lo and behold, for the last 3 fucking days, now that I'm home, every time I log into YouTube, there's all these fucking videos showing up. This is why concerts are so expensive these days. Ticketmaster this, and this is why concerts are so expensive, and there's all these documentaries about the ticket scalping agencies that use bots to buy up all the tickets and drive up the prices, and I never looked this shit up. I never typed it in. I never went to Google and said, why are concert tickets so expensive? I never went to YouTube and I never asked YouTube, why are concert tickets so expensive? They listened to me having a conversation with someone at work while my phone was in my fucking pocket, and then I get home and they're like, oh, you want to know why concert tickets are so expensive? Here, click all these links. What the fuck? And then they sit there and tell you, no, we're not listening to you. They say this all fucking day long. We're not listening to you. That's a conspiracy theory. Bullshit. Bullshit, YouTube. Fuck you. Fuck you. It's not a conspiracy theory. You fucking scumbags are just a bunch of lying sacks of shit. And here's how they get away with lying to you without technically lying to you. What they do is they hire an outside company to listen to you through your microphone and feed the information back to YouTube, so that then the YouTube algorithm picks up and says, okay, This is all the stuff we're going to show him to watch today based on what this other company heard through the microphone of his phone. That way YouTube can say we're not listening to you through your microphone because technically they had somebody else do it. That's like when the CIA decides to kill you. They don't just send a CIA agent to kill you. They hire someone from the mafia. They hire a gang member from MS-13. That way when you get killed, they can say without lying that they didn't kill you because MS-13 killed you. The gang member killed you. The mafia boss, the mafia, the made man, whatever. He got his fucking, he got a new Cadillac from Don Corleone or whatever for offing you. But the CIA paid for it. The CIA contracted them. That way they can say they didn't do it, but they did it. So it's the same fucking thing that they're doing with these media companies. And it's gotten even crazier. They're using the cameras now. And I shit you not, they're fucking watching you through the camera on your phone and using AI to see the shit that they can see. And then they're feeding you ads based on what they saw. And I guarantee you, I'm going to show you something. I'll be right back. So I just got done unpacking my last box. This is fucked up. I just got done unpacking my last box after moving into this apartment, right? My phone was probably sitting on the charger, which keeps it somewhat upright. It's kind of like a wireless charger, but it's designed to keep the phone upright. So if you want to watch a movie or something while your phone's charging or see what's on the screen, I have one on my desk here. I'm not going to show you. Well, if I can hold it up. Actually, I probably can here. I'll just give 20 fucking ads about this thing. So the phone sits here and it charges wirelessly, but you can still, you kind of see it tilted to see what's on the screen. So that's probably where my phone was while I was opening boxes and unpacking the last 2 boxes of stuff after I moved in here. And in the box, I had this. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I can use that. It's a remote control holder. It used to be on my coffee table in my old house, and it was where we kept all the remote controls for the different things in the living room. And it looked nice, and it matched the decor and, whatever. It was in this box of household stuff. And so I pulled it out, and I set it somewhere. I only have one remote control, but I had a little flashlight and a couple other things to put in here. I never talked about this thing. I never said it out loud. What's the first fucking 5 ads that I saw when I went on Facebook Marketplace that night? This fucking thing. This fucking thing was on Facebook Marketplace, and there were like 3 or 4 of them for sale. And Facebook Marketplace thought that I'd be interested in one of these remote control caddies, the exact same one, the same stitching, the same color, the same fucking pockets, all of it. That was the first fucking 5 ads on Facebook Marketplace that night when I logged into Facebook Marketplace just to browse and just for shits and giggles to see what people were selling in my area. But because I had the radius set too wide, they were like, oh, you're probably interested in that remote control caddy that we saw through your fucking camera today, so we're just going to show you a bunch of those. Why did Facebook Marketplace all of a sudden think I wanted one of these? I never talked about it. I never looked it up. I never said the words remote control caddy. I never did nothing. I pulled this thing out of a fucking box and I set it on a table, and it was probably within the view of my phone, and AI was like, oh, I know what that is. I see those on Amazon and blah, 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 and this and that. And before you know it, they're showing fucking Facebook Marketplace listings for the fucking remote control caddy that I just showed to the camera. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And then they're telling you, oh no, we're not watching you, we're not listening to you. Why do I fucking need one of these? I got one right here. I have it. You saw it in my house. Why do you think, what do you think I want 5 more of these fucking things? No, I only need one. I don't even need one. I've got one remote control. Actually, I've got 2 remote controls. One for the fucking mini split air conditioner and one for the TV, and that's it. And then, like I said, I got a couple of little flashlights and a back scratcher that I threw in there because I like knowing where my back scratcher is when I got an itchy back. Now I'm gonna get a bunch of fucking ads about back scratchers because I said it in the video today. Fuck these people. Fuck you. I'm sick and tired of this shit. If you're gonna fucking do that, stop calling the people who talk about it a fucking conspiracy theorist already. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Just cut the fucking shit and admit it. Admit what you're fucking doing. Like, you can't be any more fucking obvious with this shit. And I'm not the only one saying it. Every one of you people watching this video have experienced this yourself. You're talking about something. Magically, the thing that you're talking about when your phone's in your pocket shows up on your screen the next time you're on your fucking phone. But now they're taking pictures of everything that they can see through the fucking camera and showing you ads based on that. I don't fucking know, man. I hate this fucking world. I wish I was born in a different time, in a different, I don't know. I'm not meant for this fucking world. I'm not. I'm so sick of it all. Fuck, man. Oh, there's so many things to talk about, and I don't even know, like, where am I on time here? Oh, I can't see the clock. The fucking phone won't even show me how much time's gone by because I had I gotta get a new camera app for this phone, something that's a little better than this. They're a dime a dozen. I'll find one. It's not a big deal. I'm just sick and tired of the limitations of this one. I still want to use the phone because it's convenient, but I'm just sick of being lied to by these fucking scumbags. And then, like, you'll talk about things like how they're manipulating our weather. Somebody was calling me a dumbass conspiracy theorist a while back because I was talking about how they modify the weather. And it's just the same kind of, if you actually try to show somebody proof of what you're talking about when they start calling you a dumbass conspiracy theorist, they just, I'm not listening to you, blah, blah, and they don't want to listen. They don't want to look at what you're showing them. If you want to say, like, here's the reason why this is not a conspiracy theory, and you can, like, pull up news articles and CBS News reports about how they modified the fucking weather. And you can, like, again and again and again and again and again. But these people that call you a conspiracy theorist, they don't want to look at what you're showing them. They don't want to be shown that what you're talking about is real. They just, conspiracy theorist, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a conspiracy theorist, shut up, shut up, shut up. And they don't, so fuck off. Fuck off. Like, when somebody says the word, you're a conspiracy theorist, I instantaneously, I'm like, all right, your intelligence level is like a 2 on a scale of 0 to 100. If you even use that term, unless you're, like, I'll say the word conspiracy theorist to categorize somebody, but when I say it, it's like a term of endearment. Like, you're a soul brother to me. You are one and the same. But to me, when I'm saying it like that, sarcastically, that means that I'm talking about someone who's well informed and knows what's going on. And I'll call him my fellow conspiracy theorist because we're one and the same. We're both awake. Not woke, we're awake. We know what the fuck's going on. We can look at, if somebody sends me, hey, check this out. How fucked up is that? I'll check it out and I'll say, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. But when somebody's calling you a conspiracy theorist to make fun of you or to shut you up or because they're trying to like keep their head in the sand to pretend that what you're talking about's not real, then I lose a lot of respect for people that do that. And it doesn't matter who you are. Like I just have like I put you on a lower shelf, because if you're unwilling to even look at what someone's telling you, and it could be anything. It could be like people who were trying, dumbass fucking Republicans during the George Bush years who didn't want to look at the fact that Saddam Hussein didn't have any weapons of mass destruction, right? And that the whole reason that we're over there fighting a war in Iraq was based on a lie. No, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. All right, fuck you then. Get the fuck out of my face, you ignorant, dumb fucking retard. If it was Bill Clinton doing that, you'd listen all day long because you don't like Bill Clinton. But you're a Republican, so you won't listen to anybody when they tell you how much of a piece of shit George Bush was. So, I don't know. I'm bouncing all over the place because I didn't have anything planned for this video, and I can just kind of, it's how I roll. Filling in the time. I'm only doing this because I had to do something video-wise today. I didn't post any video yesterday. I was too tired. I had some videos sitting in my YouTube queue that I could have put titles on and put a thumbnail image on and hit live. I'm too tired. I'm too tired now, the day later. The cycling, it has an effect. I'm tired, physically exhausted. It's almost 4 o'clock. And I've got so much shit to fucking do before I can even order groceries so that I can have some food later. I got dishes to do. It's overwhelmed. I am so overwhelmed. I've got a client this morning that I had a meeting with, and he's kind of in the same boat in different ways, that he's got too much work on his plate. He can't do what he needs to do or wants to do because he's just constantly chasing his tail. And we're kind of like kindred spirits in that way because we're both going through that right now. And I said today, I'm like, we're in this meeting and it's noon, and I'm like, yeah, it's 12 o'clock. I don't even know how I'm going to get through this day. Based on how I feel right now, knowing I'm going to feel 10 times worse about 3 hours from now, just being tired from yesterday's cycling. Riding your bike 50 miles with a 8-hour shift of back-breaking labor in between is not an easy thing to do. I'm not even complaining about it. I'm just saying that you can't keep doing that day after day, week after week without it affecting your physical health. And it's starting to have a negative effect on my health instead of a positive effect of getting stronger. I'm getting more tired and weaker as the time goes by, and I've cut it back to 2 days a week. And those 4 days where I have that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to get things done, I'm constantly playing catch up to get the things done I couldn't do during those 3 days of the back-breaking bicycle routine. And I don't know how to break out of this cycle other than, I don't know. It's kind of like if I had got that job in downtown Houston that was paying a lot of money, I'd be making a lot of money and I'd have the same kind of problems. I'd be completely stressed out, tired, completely worn out, all the same kind of lack of energy, being unable to get things done, falling behind, all of that stuff, same kind of stuff. I'd be bringing home more money, but it just, I don't really, if I can figure out, if I can figure out what to do, seems like I'm allergic to work because just talking about it made me sneeze. But if I can figure out what to do in these situations I'm in to get things off my plate, and still have energy, I'll share them in the video. I think it's just right now I'm making small changes over time that are having a positive effect, but they're not what I need. That I really do need like 2 weeks off of a bike. I've been riding my bike. If you go all the way back to May 1st, 2024, I had to walk 6 miles to go get my driver's license and then walk 6 miles to come home. And from that moment forward, I had to, 2024, I walked 600 miles on my feet around Jamestown, New York while I was homeless. And then I get to Houston, I don't remember, but I think I might have put in 1,000 miles on my bicycle between September and October and December. The end of December. Maybe. I think it's possible. I had the exact number somewhere, but I can look it up on Strava. That's not a big deal. I can do it right now, but it's starting to add up. It's starting to eat at me. It's starting to have a cumulative effect of, okay, so I was 1,000 miles total last year. 1,004 miles total last year, and that includes walking. So I didn't ride my bike 1,000 miles. Oh, let's see. 20. That's not right either. Oh, bicycling 473.6 miles in 2024. And on foot, it was it's not even gonna show me, is it? It don't make any fucking sense. I know somehow I was able to get the thing to show me, but it was like 590 something miles on foot last year. And so I haven't had a break from that other than like maybe a week when I came to Texas. So I'm due for another my body's just starting to my body's starting to make demands. You're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to stop this shit at some point. So I don't know, but I'll make. I don't know. It's just it's tough. Everything is eating away at me right now. I'm in a better. Don't get me wrong. I'm in a better place mentally than I was living in that fucking ridiculous tool shed. And speaking of the ridiculous tool shed, I went to look at the guy's ad on Craigslist to see if it was still posted, and it shows up, this posting has been flagged for removal. So he's not even allowed to post his ad on Craigslist now, and I never fucking flagged it. I didn't want his ad to disappear, to be honest. It's not there. It is not on Houston's Craigslist anymore. It was the actual bookmarked ad that I found has been flagged for removal, which means multiple people saw this ad and flagged it. I have a feeling multiple people went to look at the place and felt like he was lying in the description. I don't see the description in front of me anymore. I would have to pull it up from my screenshots that I saved when he was threatening me legally. But it's had all these things in the listing that really weren't true. And I have a feeling that people went and looked at this listing in person and then flagged his ad because they were pissed off when they saw what it actually was. because one person can't take down a Craigslist ad by flagging it. It takes a lot of people hitting that flag button to make an ad disappear. And so his ad's gone. It's been flagged, and it's not on Facebook Marketplace either. So that motherfucker burned himself good by doing what he did. Getting me out of that, or, threatening to fucking do. Karma is a bitch. It's a fucking bitch. He would have been getting money all the way until the end of this month from me if he had just left me the fuck alone, even with not giving me hot water for 3 fucking months. Even with that, he could have left me the fuck alone and still been making money all the way through to the end of July before he'd have to find somebody to take over, because I wasn't going to stay there. But he got me out of there early because of the shit he pulled. And he probably sees that his ad was flagged and removed from Craigslist, and he probably thinks I did it somehow. I can't fucking do that. But no, I'm looking for it. I'm looking to see if he reposted it. One of the things you can do if your ad gets flagged, when I had my mobile bicycle shop, I had a pickup and delivery bicycle shop that I created and put on Craigslist. And I listed this business on Craigslist one day because I needed money. And it got flagged a couple of times and got removed, and I had to repost it. And I would change things, I would change the wording around, and I would change it around a little bit so that it wouldn't just get automatically flagged for just trying to repost the same ad. But I would just change certain things around. And one time I actually said to the people who were flagging the ad, they were flagging my ad and then posting ads saying that we flagged this guy because he's taking business away from this local bike shop that everybody loves. But it happened to be the local bike shop where I used to buy all of my parts and everything that I needed for the bikes that I was fixing. And the guy who runs that bike shop doesn't do repairs. If you go and buy stuff from him, he tells you to go back and use his tools and use his stuff. And so I have my own bike shop with my own tools, and I was just buying the stuff that I needed to fix people's bikes from him. And I said that when I reposted my ad. I said, look, if you're flagging me because you think I'm taking business away from this guy, I'm buying all the shit from him. They actually started leaving me alone when I said that, and they stopped flagging my ads as a result. And I would go in once in a great while, and I would use his tools. If he had a specialty tool that I needed, and I didn't have that tool in my shop and it was going to be too expensive for a one-off job that I'd only need to use it once or something like that, I'd go use his tool, and then I'd turn around and buy some stuff that I need before I left to go home. So I was, if anything, I was bringing him business he otherwise wouldn't have, and using his tools that he lets everybody use anyway, because he doesn't want to work on bikes anymore. So he opened up his shop with a bunch of workstations in the back and said, go back and use the tools. And he said he'll teach you how to use, but there's usually enough people there working on bikes that out of the kindness and respect of being in that space, and I helped people work on their bikes more than once when I was there. Somebody had a question, I'd just walk over and be like, here, I can help you with that, and teach them how to do something or how to use a tool or whatever. Because it's just that was the type of atmosphere that it was. It was like a co-op kind of an atmosphere. And so all I'm saying is I have experience with ads being flagged, and this dude's ad is gone. And I just noticed this yesterday because I just had this, it's the end of the month, and I wanted to see if he rented the place out. That motherfucker, he ain't doing so hot. He's losing money because of what he did to me. And it's just karma coming back to get him at that point. You know, if he thinks he's going to come after me and take me to court for whatever, you know, if he thinks he's going to find a way to come after me and drag me into a courtroom thinking that I owe him money somehow, he's going to end up owing me money at the end of that day. But hopefully it's in the past. I just thought that was a nice, funny little anecdote. And it kind of leads into that, just ironically leads into the one of the things that I had written down to talk about today, because I keep watching these Star Wars episodes. I only watch like maybe 2, maybe 3 episodes of that Clone Wars show before I'm bored with it. I don't, you know, I can only take watching so much, and then I'm like, all right, I got to go do something else. But at the end of the night, 9, 10 o'clock at night, I'm worn out and tired. So at the beginning of another episode, I've talked about this on multiple episodes here. There's a little fortune cookie of wisdom at the beginning of each episode of that show that would be like, if Yoda wrote fortune cookies, that's what you would see in today's cookie. And it just said, revenge is a confession of pain. And I was like, boy, that one stands out, kind of profound. Because there's a lot of people in this world that I hate. I'm just being honest. There are a lot of people who I truly hate in this world. Hate. The level of hatred extends to the extent I never want to talk to them or see them again. For the rest of my life, I do not care. I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to know about them. I don't ever want to associate with these people ever again. Seeking revenge is like another level. Like that's kind of like, it kind of applies to living in that tool shed with that slumlord. You know, I could have sought revenge after moving out. I could have taken him to court for 5 different things. I talked about those things in a couple of videos. And I would probably be justified in doing so. In fact, a lot of people at the bakery were telling me that I should. Although there were a couple older people around my age at the bakery who agreed with my stance that it's better to just walk away and take that stress out of your life than to keep living in it. But the younger people were more revenge-minded, like, you're just going to leave your security deposit and not fight to get it back? And I was like, the money does, you know, when you're young, that seems like a lot of money. When you're my age, that's not a lot of money to be paid for the hassle that you're going to go through to get it back. But like, you know, there are times where, I can think of a specific time I got revenge on somebody who did me wrong. This was a long time ago. I did something pretty shitty to somebody who did something pretty shitty to me. So payback's a bitch. And I don't really feel bad about it. But this whole concept of revenge is a confession of pain. You're admitting, by seeking revenge against somebody who did you wrong, you're admitting that that person caused you pain. And by seeking revenge, that's kind of like an announcement that you're still hurting inside for whatever that person did. Because if you weren't hurting, why would you seek revenge? And on the flip side, I'm not hurting. I feel good that I got the fuck out of that dump that I was living in just over a month ago. And I feel way better. I mean, I've got a few issues here at the new place, but overall, there's no comparison to the level of, a lot of people have left it in the comments here on the channel that they can see a marked difference in my whole demeanor since the day I got out of there. And yeah, duh, I felt it. I felt like a completely different person. I started moving boxes into the U-Haul van at 9:30 in the morning. My best friend came over at 10 a.m. We loaded the last box, got in the vehicles, and drove out of the driveway at almost 11 o'clock sharp. And I'm telling you, at 11 o'clock sharp, when all four wheels of the U-Haul van were on the road and that fucking guy's place was in the rearview mirror, I can't even begin to tell you like what a difference that made right there. Right, that very second that I drove away from that house was such a relief. My stress went down. It was such a night and day difference in how I felt getting away from that toxic fucking shit that had been eating me alive for months. Was over. So now that I'm not hurting anymore, and now that I'm feeling better, why would I want to go back to that? Why would I want to go drag that fucking asshole back into my life and go, and go inviting this toxic shit back into my life? No, I want it gone. I don't want to have that guy and any of his fucking bullshit and antics. I don't want any of that to be a part of my life anymore. So no, I didn't go after him. I didn't try to go get revenge. I felt like the better thing to do was to just walk away and just be done with it. Because if I did try to drag him into court, if I keep that guy in my life, now I've got all that toxic energy following me here, where I'm supposed to be getting on with my shit, and I'm supposed to be getting a better, I'm supposed to be putting my life back together, not dwelling in the past, right? So that little fortune cookie of wisdom, revenge is a confession of pain. If you're out to get somebody who did you wrong, it's because that person did you wrong and it hurts, and you're trying to hurt them back. But in the flip side, the reason why I'm not going after this guy, I mean, if he comes after me, different story. I will fight back so furiously and so harshly. It'll be like a rattlesnake that, don't try and pet a fucking rattlesnake. Like, leave me the fuck alone and you're not gonna get bit. But if you come at me, fuck, I'm gonna put everything I have into wiping you off the earth. Figuratively speaking, I have to say that because, I'm on probation and everything for words. So, no, but I mean, figuratively speaking, I am ready. If I were to get a summons in the mail that I've got a court appearance because this guy thinks he can do something to me after the fact, he's got another thing. He's going to be in a world of shit because I will do everything in my power to destroy him in every way I possibly can when it comes legally, through the legal system and other channels. But it seems to me, this guy has fucked over so many people that it does not surprise me in the least that his ad disappeared from Craigslist because a number of people, that takes people. One person can't make an ad disappear off Craigslist. That takes a group effort to make that happen. So he pissed off a lot of people in the last month. And I'm going to guess that people went and looked at that place for $900 a month and were like, what a fucking dump, what a fucking scam artist, this, that, and the other thing, got pissed off, went and flagged his fucking ad. The people that live there may have saw the ad and flagged it because they're pissed off at how he jacked the rent up on them and is doing all kinds of shady shit with them. So at the end of the day, karma's a bitch. That's all I'm gonna say. Karma is a bitch. But I am kind of sad that the ad disappeared because I wanted to see, my prediction was that my prediction is that he'll relist the ad at a lower price. Get somebody in there, the ad will disappear when he gets a tenant. 2 months later, the ad will show back up for the amount of money he wants to get. 900 or more, and that means that he's shaking down the tenant that lives there, trying to get them out. Maybe who knows? That dude has fucked over so many people and I'm just stay the fuck away from me. I'm shaking my fucking rattly tail. Stay the fuck away. Stay the fuck away. You do not want to come at me. Don't fuck with smart people. Like you think you can go fucking throw your weight around and try to intimidate dumb people all day, but don't go after someone who's smarter than you. That's not gonna go your way. Be thankful that I walked away from that and decided to just move on with my life, because I don't want that thing in my past anymore. The talking about it today is already, that's too much. That's too much in the living in the past. But I just thought I'd share that tidbit with you because I thought you'd all get a kick out of it. And now we're moving on. Star Wars. One of the things about watching these again that I find interesting is the little details and things that you never saw before. And now this Clone Wars show, the last time I watched it, my son was probably, I can actually tell you, 2015, so it would have been, that makes sense. So me and my son in 2015 started watching all the Star Wars stuff out there because I knew there was a new movie coming out, and so my whole plan was to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He was 6 years old. My son was 6, so he was old enough to get a kick out of Star Wars, and in fact, like the prequel movies like Jar Jar Binks and all that probably were entertaining for a 6-year-old to watch. And so he enjoyed watching Star Wars, sitting on Dad's lap on the couch while we sit and watch these shows. And so we watched all of it, and we were watching everything in order. There wasn't anywhere near the amount of stuff that there is now. And we weren't doing this like every day. It was just over time throughout the year 2015. When The Force Awakens came out in the theater, the night before we went to see The Force Awakens, we had just watched Return of the Jedi. So he just saw Return of the Jedi for the first time on Saturday night, and Sunday morning we're at the movie theater watching The Force Awakens with our 3D goggles on this big giant IMAX screen, and it was that was wild. Just, whether you like the movie or not, watching it on a big giant IMAX screen in 3D where the Star Destroyer's like right in front of your face and you can grab it almost, and that was cool. And so, and the really loud sound and everything, and he's 6 years old, 7 probably at the time. Hold on. No, he was 6. He was 5 when we started watching Star Wars. He turned 6 before we went to the theater. So that was the last time I saw the Clone Wars series, 2015. Now it's 10 years later, and I'm watching it again by myself because I'm just something to do. And so you see things that you didn't see the first time around. So there was, we've got this show, The Mandalorian, and there's a whole history about the planet Mandalore and the Mandalorians and all that. And that's all mostly covered in these side shows like the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And, if you ever watched The Mandalorian, but you didn't watch, if you just got into that because you're a casual Star Wars person, you'd notice that there was this character in that show that had this black lightsaber. Well, there's a whole history about that lightsaber, the dark saber, and it's covered a lot in the Clone Wars. And so there's this whole sub-series in the Clone Wars series about almost like a civil war going on the planet Mandalore. And the Queen, the Duchess of Mandalore, is with Obi-Wan Kenobi in this park in Coruscant. And so for any of you who don't know, Coruscant is this planet that's the whole entire planet is a giant city. The entire planet is covered. It's just a big giant city. It's like a city, like New York City, that covers the entire planet. It's like if like the entire planet of Earth looked like Manhattan. And so there's this park in Coruscant. Now, in the TV show Andor that just came out, that's critically acclaimed. It's a really good show. Even if you don't like Star Wars, it's a really good show on its own. But in the show Andor, there's a scene where they're in this park and they're talking about how there's this rock in the middle of the park. And this rock is the only piece of land left on the whole planet of Coruscant that you can actually see with your eyes. And they built a park. It's the top of the highest mountain peak on the planet. And it's a park. And there's like a railing around it. You're not even allowed to touch the mountain. You're not allowed to touch the rock. But it's just a rock sticking up out of the sidewalk with a railing around it. And it's the only piece of land on the entire planet that's still visible that you can actually see. But you're not even allowed to touch it. There's like security droids that'll halt your ass off if you reach out to try and touch it. But it's the only piece of visible land on the whole planet. So there's this scene in the Clone Wars animated series where Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Duchess of Mandalore are in this park. And there it is. There's the rock and there's the railing around it. And it looks just like it did in the show Andor. But they never talk about it. It's never mentioned in the show, the Clone Wars, that this rock is the only piece of land on the whole planet where you can see the actual land. And it's the peak of the highest mountain on the planet. But there's a scene from the show that takes place right there in front of the rock in the park. And it's like one of these little details you would never know if you didn't see the show Andor, where they're in that park and they're talking about it, and in their conversation, in their dialogue, that's how you discover what this is. So now there's other places where they've stuck this park, scenes from this park, in other Star Wars shows and movies, but they never told you what it was, and you would never know. You would just be like, oh, it's a park. You'd know it's a park of some kind, but you wouldn't like put the details together. But now that they explained it, now if you ever see a scene that's in that park, you're gonna know, oh, that's the highest mountain peak on the planet of Coruscant, and that's the only piece of land on the whole planet that hasn't been covered up with concrete and steel or whatever they use, in the Star Wars universe. And I just thought that was weird because they made it look exactly the same. Supposedly at the, and I've never noticed this, but I'll be watching for it at the end of Return of the Jedi. In the remade version of it that George Lucas did in the late 1990s, that park is in the end of the movie when they're all celebrating that Palpatine was thrown down the well. And they're all like, yay, we're free, at least for now. And one of the celebration scenes takes place in that park with the big rock. And it's called Monument Plaza. It has a name, because I had to look this up on Google the next day. I'm like, because I just thought it was weird that I noticed this, but it's not something that you would ever notice until you go back and see it again like I'm doing now. And there's lots of little details like that you see that you never noticed before, but now you're watching it with the knowledge of what's to come and what happens in these other movies and shows and all this other stuff, and you just notice all these little details. And that's kind of like the fun of Star Wars, that there's always some little detail or some tidbit to notice about something that you didn't notice before. And you could watch the movie 10 times and you're always going to be picking up on some little thing or making some little connection or puzzle piece fit together that you didn't notice before, and you're like, damn, that's clever. Or the mind-blowing level of detail that it takes to do that it's kind of, it's fun to watch the level of creativity involved with taking something that started in the 1970s and still going today, and the way that they're able to tie these things together and make some sort of cohesion, even though, you know, you can argue all day about how good of a job they've done with that since Disney took over, but there are things in there that just, it's interesting to see from just, if you're interested in storytelling, movies, filmmaking in general, animation in general, there's just lots of details that mean you can watch this thing more than once and still pick up on new things when you watch it, and it's like worth watching again. There's another little tidbit that I noticed this the first time that me and my son did this, but in the Clone Wars series, Obi-Wan Kenobi is constantly fighting with General Grievous, the robot, this semi-robot droid, mostly droid, part some other creature, and he's got 4 arms and he carries 4 lightsabers and from the Jedi that he's killed and this and that. And he's in the 3rd movie, Revenge of the Sith, but when he meets Obi-Wan and Anakin in the movie, he says, "I expected you to be taller." He said that to Anakin. Well, him and Obi-Wan Kenobi are fighting all the time. Like, I'm telling you, like every 3rd episode, the two of them go at it with a lightsaber fight. And Obi-Wan is eventually the one that kills him in the movie, but Anakin could be in the next room, and they never meet throughout the whole Clone Wars series, because if they ever did meet face to face, it would ruin what happened in the movie where Grievous sees Anakin for the first time and says, "I thought you would be a little bit taller," which is kind of like a throwback to when Princess Leia met Luke Skywalker for the first time. She goes, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?" And when Grievous meets Anakin for the first time, he says, "I thought you'd be a little taller," because he heard all about Anakin. He thought, you know, who's this short guy? It's like a throwback joke. It's something to pick up. It's like one of those things to pick up on. But you could watch the entire Clone Wars series and then see Anakin and Obi-Wan get in a fight with General Grievous, and you'd be thinking to yourself, didn't these two fight already? But then if you go back and pay attention, Anakin never meets Grievous face to face the whole time. He could literally be in the next room while Obi-Wan's fighting him, and they never see each other the whole time, that series. And there's like 7 seasons of that show, and they never meet face to face the whole time, even though Obi-Wan and General Grievous are fighting all the time. And so, like, there was just one of those attention to details when Dave Filoni was, you know, and George Lucas were making this series. They came to the conclusion, Anakin can never meet General Grievous because it would ruin the line. It would break the continuity of the story, because in the 3rd movie, that's when Anakin meets him for the first time. But Obi-Wan is well acquainted with him, and the fact that Obi-Wan and Grievous have fought over and over and over again it's not out of alignment with what happens in the 3rd movie. And so it's just a lot of weird shit like that all ties together. It's fun to watch. The level of detail, like when Mon Mothma gives her speech in the Senate in Andor, where she basically calls out Palpatine as being a monster, and then they're trying to kill her, and she has to escape and go out to exile because she just committed an act of treason by, you know, calling the Emperor what he was. That lines up with some of the animated series, but they actually took some liberties to allow her to give a different speech on the Senate floor, because they didn't want to give the exact same speech that she gave in one of the animated shows. And so the speech that she gave in the animated show takes place after the speech that she gave in the Senate. And there's nothing in the animated show that would indicate she was even in the Senate when she gave the speech. It was just a different speech that she gave after the fact, after she went out to exile and went into hiding, so that because they were trying to kill her. And so, like, it's a cool, I think it's, for the most part, it's good storytelling, but some of the stuff that the Disney movies did is going to take, somebody's going to have to put a Band-Aid on that shit, and, like, because those Disney movies were pretty bad. Just some of the things they did in those movies, a lot of people are angry about, just because, I mean, I'm not angry, I don't give a fuck that much about it. I give a little bit more of a fuck than I give about who wins the Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, I'm not losing sleep because of some dumb shit that the people who are in charge of Star Wars did. It's not that big a deal to me. Some people got mad enough to kick a hole in their TV. It's like, yeah, go calm down, dude. It's not that big a deal. But I don't know. I thought that was interesting, and I got some other stuff I could talk about, but I'm pretty sure that this video got really long, and it's getting later in the day, and I got a bunch of stuff I've got to do today. Get a video posted for you guys so that you can have something to watch today, and I gotta order groceries, but I can't order groceries until I know how much money I have, so I gotta do that. And with that, I'm just gonna say peace out for now, and we'll talk again soon.